This is incredible, look at it!
I really don't like this. Wait, what is that?
Get out, run!
I thought Halloween ended when the last porch light went out, but in my town one house never did. And what I saw inside still makes my skin crawl every time I close my eyes. Before we begin, please comment where you're watching from. I want to find and tell terrifying true stories that happened in your city. And don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell, hit like, and stay until the very end because this story's ending will seriously disturb you. It was the night after Halloween, November 1st. The streets were quiet again, no laughter, no costumes, no decorations fluttering in the wind. Just dead leaves scraping along the asphalt and the faint smell of burnt pumpkin candles. I was driving home from a late shift at the gas station around 1:00 a.m. I took the long way, past Old Maple Drive, the same street I used to trick-or-treat on as a kid. Every house was dark, just as you'd expect after the holiday. Except for one, number 217, the Miller House. That place had been abandoned for years, ever since the fire. Locals said it used to belong to a couple who threw the best Halloween parties in town, until one night a candle tipped over. The fire spread fast, trapping them inside. Their bodies were never found. The place had been boarded up ever since, but that night, the porch light at 217 was glowing bright orange, the same kind of light people put out for and faintly, I could hear something laughed at kids. No, it was too slow, too distorted, like a recording. I pulled over, I don't know why, maybe curiosity, maybe something darker. I just wanted to see. The boards on the front door were gone. The pumpkins on the porch were still there, half rotten with flies buzzing around them, but someone had lit fresh candles inside each one. Their flickering light made the carved faces look alive. I stood at the gate, frozen. That's when the porch light started to flicker, once, twice, and then it went out. The laughter stopped. I should have turned around and left right there, but I didn't, because in that sudden darkness, I saw a movement in one of the upstairs windows, a figure standing perfectly still, staring down at me. I called out, "Hello, anyone there?" No answer. The air suddenly felt thick, like the humidity before a storm. I took a step closer and the front door creaked open, slow and deliberate. Inside, the air smelled like smoke and wet wood. My flashlight beam danced across scorched wallpaper and broken furniture. The walls were covered in old party decorations, paper bats, cobwebs, and faded orange streamers that looked like they'd been there for decades. Somewhere deeper in the house, I heard music faint and crackling, like it was coming from an old record player. It was playing Monster Mash. I followed the sound down the hallway. Every step on the warped wooden floor echoed like I was walking in a tunnel. When I reached the living room, the record player was spinning, but there was no record on it, just the needles scratching on empty vinyl, yet the music still played. I turned in a slow circle, my light trembling in my hand. That's when I saw them. 4 figures standing in the corner, dressed in tattered Halloween costumes, a witch, a clown, a skeleton, and a man in a suit with a jack-o'-lantern for a head. At first I thought they were mannequins, but then the witch's head tilted slightly and I realized their skin was gray, cracked like they'd been burnt. I stumbled backward. The witch whispered something, her voice was like air escaping a pipe. "Stay for the party." The record player screeched, the light bulbs above me burst one by one, raining glass. I ran. The hallway stretched longer than before, impossibly long. Every door I passed was wide open, and behind each one I saw flashes, people dancing, laughing, screaming. The air was full of smoke, just like the night of the fire. When I finally burst out the front door, I didn't look back. I just kept running until I reached my car. But when I slammed the door shut, something made me glance up one last time. All the lights in the house had come back on. The figures were standing in the doorway, motionless, watching me, and then one by one they raised their arms and waved. As I sped off, I caught something in my rearview mirror that made my blood run cold, the orange glow of the porch light flickering again like it was waiting for the next visitor. The next morning I drove past the house again. The gate was chained shut, the boards nailed back across the door, the windows black. No light, no sound. I asked the neighbor across the street if anyone had moved in. She frowned. "That place, honey, it's been empty since the Millers died in '98. I didn't say anything. I just nodded and walked back to my car. But as I got in, I noticed something in my back seat sitting right in the middle, perfectly upright, a plastic pumpkin bucket, and inside was a single piece of candy corn. It started as a joke between friends, something stupid to keep Halloween going for one more night, but by the time it was over, none of us were laughing. My name's Ryan. I live in a small college town where people treat Halloween like a week-long festival. Parties, haunted houses, costume contests, you name it. This year, my roommates and I decided to enter a next-day costume challenge. The idea was simple: keep your costume on for 24 hours after Halloween. Whoever lasted the longest without taking it off got $200. I thought it'd be easy money. I went as a scarecrow, flannel shirt, straw stuffing, burlap sack masks with button eyes, simple but creepy. My girlfriend, Jess, helped stitch it together herself. When the contest started, it was just for laughs. We all wore our costumes to breakfast at the diner. We got a few weird looks, but it was fun until later that night when everyone but me had given up. Jess texted, "You win, Scarecrow. Take it off already. It's creeping me out." I sent a photo back. The burlap mask tilted just enough to look eerie, but something was wrong. My fingers brushed the edge of the mask and it didn't move. I tried pulling it off gently, thinking maybe the fabric had snagged on my hair or the collar. It didn't budge. I laughed it off, tugged harder, and that's when I felt it pain, like the sack was fused to my skin. At first I thought maybe I was overreacting, glue residue, sweat, whatever. But then I tried to slip a finger under the edge near my jaw, and I couldn't feel a seam, just rough, scratchy burlap. I ran to the mirror. My heart started pounding as I realized the burlap didn't sit on top of my skin anymore. It was my skin. The button eyes blinked. I froze. My breathing came out muffled through the rough fabric. I clawed at it, tearing at the stitches, but every pull sent a burning shock through my face. Tiny specks of blood seeped through the sack's fibers. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over the straw that had fallen out of my sleeves earlier that day. Except now, it wasn't straw, it was hair. Long, dry strands that crumbled when I touched them. Panic took over. I grabbed a pair of scissors and ran to the bathroom. Jess had just arrived, knocking on the door. "Ryan, are you okay?" I heard yelling. I opened the door, and she screamed. She said later that the eye holes had gone completely black, no skin visible underneath. Just two deep pits, like something hollow was looking back at her. She begged me to go to the hospital, but when I tried to leave the apartment, something pulled me back. I swear it felt like invisible strings were tied around my wrists, yanking me toward the bedroom. The air got thick, heavy with the smell of dirt and hay. The light flickered. "Ryan," Jess whispered. "Take it off." I looked down at my hands. The fingers weren't fingers anymore. They were sticks. Dry, splintered wood poking through the cuffs of my shirt. I screamed. Jess tried to pull the shirt off me, but the seams wouldn't tear. It was like the fabric had grown into me. Every tug made that awful scraping noise like burlap rubbing against bone. I fell to my knees, clutching my head, begging for it to stop. I could feel something moving underneath the sack, crawling like insects burrowing through my cheeks. Jess ran to call 911, but as soon as she stepped out of the room, the temperature dropped. Frost crept up the window pane, even though it was nearly 60 degrees outside, and then I heard it. A voice, faint whispering from somewhere deep inside the mask. "Stay with us. The harvest isn't over." I couldn't breathe. My chest felt tight. My vision blurred, but I saw movement in the corner of the room. Dark shapes swaying back and forth, like they were dancing. I recognized them, scarecrows. 5 or 6 of them, hanging from invisible poles, heads tilted, their button eyes glowing faintly orange in the dim light. They were watching me. The whispering grew louder, a dozen overlapping voices chanting something low and rhythmic. My whole body convulsed as the air filled with dust and the scent of rotting corn. When Jess came back with help, she found the door locked from the inside. It took the police 15 minutes to break it down. By the time they did, I was gone. At least, that's what they thought. All they found was the costume lying on the floor, perfectly intact. No blood, no tears, just the burlap mask, staring up at them. Jess swore she saw the button eyes blink one last time before they turned it over to evidence. The police wrote it off as a mental health incident. They said I must have run away. But Jess doesn't believe that, because last week, she woke up to find something on her porch, a small pile of straw and a single burlap button, glinting in the morning sun. And written in dirt beneath it were 3 words, "Still with us." It's strange how something as innocent as candy can turn into a nightmare, especially when it's the one thing left behind after Halloween, sitting there, waiting, like bait. I used to love Halloween. This story happened 3 years ago. I was living in a quiet neighborhood outside Denver, the kind of place where everyone decorates, hands out full-size candy bars, and competes for the best haunted yard. I had just moved there and wanted to fit in, so I went all out. Lights, fog machines, skeletons on the lawn. It was a good night. Kids came and went, laughing, their bags filling fast. By midnight, everything went quiet. I turned off the lights, went inside, and crashed on the couch. The next morning I found a paper bag sitting on my porch. A simple brown lunch sack. No decorations, no writing. Just sitting there as if someone left it for me. I thought it was a kid's bag that fell from a costume the night before, so I picked it up. It was heavier than I expected. Inside were about a dozen pieces of candy wrapped, but old, the kind of wrappers you don't see anymore. Faded logos, brands from decades ago. Butterfinger, 1990s label. A Tootsie Pop that looked dried and cracked. Even a Baby Ruth that had a design I hadn't seen since I was a kid. I should have thrown it out. But nostalgia's a funny thing. I smiled, thinking someone had gone all vintage for Halloween. I set it aside and forgot about it. That night, I woke up to the sound of rustling, like someone rummaging through the bag. I figured it was a raccoon ID, left it by the door, but when I turned on the light and looked, the bag was still sealed, untouched. I I went back to sleep. Around 3 a.m., I woke up again. This time, I heard chewing, slow, wet chewing coming from the hallway. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped out of the bedroom. The sound stopped. The bag was gone. There were candy wrappers leading down the hall, old ones, brittle and torn. At the end of the trail near the kitchen, something small sat on the floor. It was a single candy corn. I picked it up. It felt soft, like it had been in someone's mouth. That's when I noticed something on the wall. Faint handprints, sticky and dark. The size of a child's eye called out, "Hello." Silence, then giggle. It came from the kitchen, high-pitched quick, like a whisper of laughter. I flicked on the light. No one there. But the back door was slightly open, swaying in the cold wind. The porch light outside flickered once, then twice, and went out, locked the door, threw the candy away, and tried to convince myself it was my imagination. The next morning, the bag was back on the porch. Same bag, same candies, same exact number. That's when I started getting scared. I asked my neighbor, Mrs. Douglas, if she'd seen anyone around last night. She frowned and said, "Oh, you got one too." "One what?" I asked. She told me that every year, after Halloween, a few people in the neighborhood found those old candy bags left on their porches. Most ignored them, but those who didn't, those who ate the candy, were never quite the same afterward. One man started losing weight fast, said he couldn't taste anything but sugar. He was found weeks later, collapsed in his kitchen, every tooth rotted black. Another woman stopped sleeping altogether, said she heard kids playing in her house at night. They found her sitting at her dining table, staring at an empty candy bag, muttering, "They're still hungry." I didn't believe her, not really, until that night I woke up to laughter again, louder this time, all around me. I grabbed my phone, the screen showed 3:03 a.m. and turned on the flashlight. The beam caught movement. Something small darted across the floor, child-sized, pale, with hollow eyes that reflected the light like glass marbles. There were several of them, kids, or what used to be kids. Their skin looked dried out, their lips cracked, their teeth too sharp. Each one held a piece of candy, the same vintage wrappers from the bag. They were eating, chewing, staring at me as they did. I tried to scream, but one of them, a girl in a torn witch costume, put a finger to her mouth and whispered. They circled me, giggling softly, wrappers falling round my feet. I could smell the rot of old sugar and something far worse. Then the smallest one stepped forward and held out the paper bag. "For you," he said, voice raspy. "Your turn." I backed away, shaking my head. No, I don't want it." The boy tilted his head. "You already took it." I glanced at the counter. The trash can was overturned. The bag was gone. And suddenly my mouth tasted like chocolate. Bitter, sour, wrong. I looked down at my hands. My fingertips were sticky, covered in melted candy. I had eaten it. Somehow I didn't remember doing it, but the taste was there, thick, sweet, clinging to my tongue like syrup. The room began to spin. The children's laughter grew distant, echoing in my ears as everything went dark. When I woke up, it was morning. Sunlight filled the kitchen, the candy, the wrappers, the handprints all gone. For a moment I thought it had all been a nightmare, until I saw the paper bag sitting on the table. Inside there was no candy this time, just teeth. Small yellowed baby teeth arranged neatly in a pile, and on the bottom of the bag, written in sticky red letters, "Thank you for sharing." If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Tell me in the comments which story creeped you out the most, and more importantly, what's left on your porch after Halloween. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell, and leave a like, because the next stories I tell might just happen in your town. Sweet dreams.